Call the East Lyme Board of Selectmen meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of February 5th. If you all please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief Dwyer, why don't you lead us off?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Put you on the spot there, Chief. I was getting worried. I meant to write it down for you, but good. Starting off our meeting tonight, obviously we have a very special situation. We have two new firefighters we'd like to introduce officially to the town, and their chiefs and their departments are here to represent them. And we will do an official, I guess it's a repinning since they've been working already and all, but we'll make it official in front of the town. So if the two chiefs would come up, Chief Dwyer, Chief Ricks, and you can choose who goes first. Chief Ricks, why don't you actually start and tell us about who we're meeting tonight.
All right. Dave, you want to come up? Okay, as of tonight, firefighter Dave Swinburne has been in the fire service for 31 years. He first started volunteering for the Niantic Fire Department back in 1989. Later, he joined the Flanders Fire Department, where he began working as a part-time firefighter as well as earning the rank of the fire captain. In the late 90s, Dave became a full-time firefighter for the town of Montville around until 2013, then for about 5 years, at which time he took a position as a safety consultant for a major construction company interpreting and enforcing OSHA regulations. During his time in Montville, he also became a volunteer firefighter for the Oakdale Fire Department, where he still proudly volunteers today. As always, for most people, things come full circle. In September of 2018, Dave came back to the Flanders Fire Department as a part-time firefighter. Then through his hard work and continued commitment to the fire service, has now been hired as a full-time firefighter for the town of East Lyme. Tonight, he will be sworn in as the town's 12th full-time firefighter, and he is assigned to work at the Flanders Fire Department. Tonight, Dave will be pinned by his wife, Donna, son, Chase, and daughter, Maddie. Congratulations and good luck on a happy, safe career, and protect the residents and guests of this town.
Welcome. Good photo moment there. I don't know if anybody caught that. You got it?
Awesome.
All right, good. Thanks, Morris.
Firefighter Kirko. Firefighter Kirko graduated from Wharton High School in Tampa, Florida in 2002. After Kevin graduated, he enlisted in the U.S. Army and served active duty from 2002 to 2005. In 2012, Firefighter Kirko became a member of the Niantic Fire Department, where he remains an active member today. Firefighter Kirko obtained his Connecticut State Fire 1 and 2 certification, and also obtained his Connecticut and National Emergency Medical Technician certifications. He is also enrolled in Connecticut State Fire Officer 1, and in 2019, Firefighter Kirko was voted upon the members of the Niantic Volunteer Fire Department as EMS Captain, a rank that he currently holds today. In October 2019, Firefighter Kirko was given the opportunity of becoming a full-time career firefighter with the town of East Lyme. On November 2nd, 2019, Firefighter Kevin Kirko began his career as a firefighter EMT working B shift at the Niantic Fire Department headquarters station. Kevin will be pinned by his father, Pete Quinn. I wish Firefighter Kirko a happy and safe career with the town of East Lyme, and I congratulate you on your achievement. Congratulations, Kevin. That goes in, it's staying.
Yeah. No, that's great. All right. Thank you, chiefs. Thank you to our new firefighters. We're proud of you already. We appreciate what you do. Kevin, you're coming over from Public Works too, so you've been in our family for a little bit. But we so much appreciate you all stepping up. We have 2 very proud departments, and we're trying to support them better and better every year. We have a whole budget book right here sitting there talking about how we have to support our firefighters better in our fire departments, and that's the truth, and that's the reality of it. It's so great to have family come out and support. This is a great, proud event, and I'm glad you have pictures. And I congratulate you all, and thank you for your service. The families are part of this, and it's why it's important to have the families here. You will. This isn't a 9-to-5 job. And this isn't predictable, and sometimes things are missed in our families, and events are missed, and the scheduled dinner around the table with everybody's missed sometimes, and even holidays are missed. And we know that, and we appreciate that. And the citizens of East Lyme are grateful for your service. Every single one of you in this room. Thank you very much. Now you can stay for the very boring part of the meeting. We're going to talk about a $75 million budget, or you're welcome to leave and congregate in the foyer. That's what I thought.
Yeah. The chiefs
We'll give you time to clear.
Yeah, we'll give you time.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah, it took the chiefs no time to lead their departments.
That's leadership for you. We'll give them 30 seconds to get out.
Yeah.
Joe, close the door. They'll be.
Yes, please.
They're going to be in the hallway, I'm sure. I'm glad we're doing that now. That's the second time we've done it with fire. We've done it with police for several years. It's great. It's great to see how the support that we they get from their families, and it really is all in. Nice to see our fire marshal here. You were pretty well supported a meeting ago or so. Good. Additional agenda or consent items? Is there any?
Nope.
Delegations then? Would anyone like to speak to the Board of Selectmen this evening? Okay, approval of the minutes. Regular meeting, January 22nd was the last time we met.
I'll move to approve the regular meeting minutes of January 22nd, 2020 as submitted.
Second.
January 22nd as submitted. Any comments or corrections?
I have one.
Yes?
On the last page, in the middle of the page with the sentence starting saying, having completed maps. We should cross out maps and insert construction drawings. And then following 2 would be go out to bid. Add the word go between 2 and out.
Good catches.
I'm good with the
You'll amend your motion?
amend it, approve as amended.
Yes.
And yes, okay. Any other corrections? Then we'll vote on this. All in favor of the minutes as submitted with corrections, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Consent calendar?
Move to approve the consent calendar for the meeting of February 5th, 2020 in the amount of $581.10.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any further comments? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Great. Okay. Old business with the discussion and possible action of the harbor management plan. Folks, on September 4th, we moved to accept the plan and the ordinance to adopt the plan into the record. As you remember, after we did that, we did mention that we would have to go back to the DEEP for their final approval once they looked it over. They did look it over. In fact, in our minutes that evening, I had something highlighted here. No, there was something else that said, by the way, oh yeah, here, Mr. Dinsmore, and who's seated in our audience, I'll give you a chance to speak if I miss anything, or if you want to add anything. Mr. Dinsmore noted that as a point of process, this will need to go back before the DEEP for final changes, although they anticipate de minimis changes to occur. At that time, Harbor Management will distribute the final copies to us. There was a change that the DEEP is requesting. And the request is de minimis in nature. And very, very simply, I think you all have a copy. Hopefully you have a copy of the one page, I think, is all you need.
Yes.
Great. And it's that last, the line has been, the last sentence of that paragraph. The town attorney has indicated that efforts to clarify the current titles on street end and water access right-of-ways likely will be costly and time-consuming. The DEP felt that that was more of a narrative, more of an editorial, more of an opinion than the facts of the matter, which are, murky. But they are what they are. So the DEP has chosen to strike that one sentence. It's not the job of the harbor master to plan, the harbor master plan to determine title or conflict resolution on these parcels. The DEP thought it would be best to keep that part of the conversation away from the harbor management plan. It makes a lot of sense. Tonight we'll be asking you to adopt the plan with changes. Steve, would you like to add to that, or can you come up and answer some questions if there are any?
Steve Dinsmore, 57 Chesterfield Road. I can answer any questions you have, but you summarized it fairly well. We just need to remove the one sentence and adopt the amended plan.
Great. Are there any questions, Mr. Dinsmore, the chairman?
I do have a
Yes, ma'am.
question. Which were once used as town fire docks. That is the third or fourth line down, which begins of which. Are we not still using those as, aren't we still using those docks as fire docks?
We are not.
No.
They
Okay.
can't. They actually are not allowed to use those docks any longer. I think it has something to do with pumping salt water through
Correct.
the pump
Oh,
systems.
yes. Okay,
Yes.
I remember now, all right.
This paragraph was actually restored from the original harbor management plan due to some of the residents' concerns. And even this last line was in the original plan, but DEP requested this last line be stricken from. They approved the restoration of the entire paragraph, but requested the last line be removed.
Thank you.
I know we haven't voted yet, but I'd like to commend past and present members of the Harbor Management Shellfish Commission. This has been a 4.5, 5-year journey,
Longer.
6 to 7.
6 to 7 year journey.
I was still ex officio to it when they
Yeah.
started.
Three ex officios.
There's been four of the current selectmen, I think, have served on our, as ex officios on the commission during my tenure.
Wow.
Wow. A lot of fortitude and determination to get this across the goal line, and they never threw the towel in, so I just want to commend them for their efforts.
Awesome.
If there is a celebration upon passing of this, I think those ex officios should be invited to that celebration. I'm just suggesting.
Well, I'll be
that.
down to the black sheep and
Okay.
after this
Okay.
meeting, so you're welcome to join me.
Okay.
There you go.
I'll move the following resolution. Resolved pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes, Section 22A-113M, to accept and adopt the one change made by the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to the 2019 revised Harbor Management Plan, which plan replaced the Harbor Management Plan adopted by the Board of Selectmen on May 4, 1994, was adopted by the Board of Selectmen on September 4, 2019 as follows. On page 3-12, in this section concerning water and waterfront access issues and considerations, delete the last sentence as shown below. And it'll read this way. 3, use of town-owned street ends and water access right-of-ways. Some opportunities for visual and physical access to the HMA are provided by town-owned waterfront street ends and water access right-of-ways. some of which were once used as town fire docks. These areas currently provide only limited water access opportunities due to the lack of parking, other space limitations, lack of facilities to support access, particularly physical access, and private encroachments. Some waterfront street ends traditionally have been used only by neighborhood residents and are located within the boundaries of private beach associations. Some neighborhood residents have expressed concern that increased use of waterfront street ends and old fire dock areas for water access could adversely affect existing neighborhood character. Neighborhood residents also describe deed restrictions preventing any development of the areas for general public use. In addition, there is currently some uncertainty regarding the ownership of certain street ends, including some shown as town-owned on maps prepared by the planning department. And that is the change recommended. And the 2019 Harbor Management Plan, as revised above, is effective immediately.
Second.
The motion, that's the second. Are we looking for any further comments? I'll just echo Mr. Daigle's comments. 7 years, that's a group of volunteers putting this together. We very much appreciate it, and our citizens are grateful.
Thank you.
Is there a commission that's undertaking this uncertainty regarding the ownership of street ends? How are we handling that?
There's not a commission. A town attorney can tackle it at some point. There has been some, I don't know if there's case law yet on it. We're working on some of these same issues up at Old Black Point.
Mhm.
There's a big case on that, and I think what comes of that might then spill down to other places like Saunders Point, which I think this is specifically talking about, but in other areas as well. So our town attorney is very involved with that particular case. It's a private case. I think it's a civil case, but we'll see where that goes.
Thank you for the update.
Yes. Any further comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Terrific. Thank you again, Steve.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Congratulations, Steve.
Yes,
Good night.
at long last.
Steve's doing the running every Wednesday, the 3.4 miles, sponsored by the Black Sheep, and then everyone goes in for a beverage afterwards. But it's great that you're keeping up, and it's great that the brave souls that run during the winter. I mean, it's fun in the summer.
No,
Not yet.
No,
No
not-
running tonight?
Well, now that you've said that.
He just came back.
Oh, you just came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I figured as much. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks again, Steve. We have appointments to boards and commissions. Joe Bergaz here to talk a little bit about the tree warden issue. As you know, Mr. Jezierski passed away just a couple months ago. Second generation of Jezierskis to be the tree warden in this town. Since then, the job has evolved, changed, and been emboldened by regulation and certification requirements, etc. What's also come to light is the inappropriateness of having the tree warden also be your contractor that digs down the trees. It flies in the face of our new purchasing policy, which we should get 3 bids, and you know there could be a conflict of interest as far as what trees are taken down and when. In most towns, in fact, all the towns I know of, have independent tree wardens who are not connected to a tree company. And I'm looking to improve this situation now that there's an opportunity to improve it. We are most grateful for the Jezierski family who served this town for 2 generations that I know of, and maybe even longer. My recommendation is to make Joe Bergaz the tree warden. He has received his tree warden certification. I'd like you to come up and say hi and tell me about what that took. But part of this is I'm also in our budget looking to. Joe's got a lot on his plate. He's willing to do it and would be paid $500 a month for this service. It's $6,000 a year for this added service to the town. In the meantime, if someone comes up and is willing to do it for free, who is an arborist or is a certified tree warden, would be my my pleasure to interview them and make sure they're qualified. It wouldn't take much burden away from Joe in that he holds the budget for the removal of trees around town, which next year is proposed to be $50,000. So there's still coordination with the Public Works Department. This would be a natural fit, and obviously going to a frugal yet trustworthy servant of our town. Joe, did I miss anything on that, or can you add to that, or maybe be up here for some questioning?
You covered most of it, but I bring this notebook up because it is morphing, all the tree stuff now. We get calls all the time. Right now, if it goes to a private contract or someone else in town, you have to coordinate. Paperwork has never been more key as far as protecting the town's liabilities. There's a lot of dead trees out there. There's a lot to it. We get calls all the time. Up until now, even with the Jezerskis, and I echo what Mark says, is they've done a great job. Bill Jezerski was fantastic. I've been working with Mike in the transition, his son. It's never been more important. The two things, by state statute, the tree warden is a very important position. You have the care and duty of all the trees in the town right away, town properties and stuff like that, so there's a lot to that. There's two requirements. You have to be either a licensed arborist or you have to pass the state tree warden thing. I looked it up. There's no, next to Mr. Jezerski, who passed away, there's no arborist license in the town of East Lyme. That doesn't mean you can't get someone from Old Lyme and Waterford, and as Mr. Nickerson said, if someone else from the town wants to willingly do that, great, I'll work with them. The problem is it's in the Public Works budget, and I have to manage budget now. The thing that's always been a little complicated is if you have a tree warden doing their stuff, they find 30, 40 trees to cut down. They're coming back to this board and asking for money, because if the tree warden says it has to come down, it has to come down. So there's all that balancing of budget and everything like that, but when it comes down to the tree warden's responsible for the care of the trees. You know, it's not about whether you have enough money, it's if you have to take the trees down. So this is a big deal now, and that's what I said to the first selectman, is that I'm willing to do it. We have a lot of things going on right now. We do get someone involved, but there's a lot of dead trees in town with the gypsy moth, the devastation, and the ash tree stuff. So that's basically the gist. I'll answer your question, but it's really blossoming into what you have to do. You have to make sure the tree is on town right away, because we're not just cutting down other people's trees. Then you have to go out there. You have to meet with the people. There's times where you post a tree and people don't want it down, and then you have to do it by state statute. You have to have a hearing. You have to do, and all that stuff has to be. Unfortunately, in the year 2020, everything has to be documented, and that's probably one of the things that we've been a little lax or the way in the past. So to protect the town's interests, there's a lot of liability out there. It has to be documented.
We actually have a tree hearing that's been proposed, I believe. There was a tree that we posted, and we have some neighbors who didn't want that down. So we actually are waiting to appoint a tree warden so we can carry on with that task.
Because no one had the state authority
Right.
to actually have a hearing to make a determination that someone's going to be mad. Because one side wants the tree down and one side doesn't. The state statute requires you have to have a hearing, you have to hear it out, and based on the reasoning and stuff like that, you make a determination. You can't do that without the state backing of that state statute. So, and the town is required to have, by law, you have to have a tree warden.
Yes.
So that's, you covered it, but there's a lot to this.
Questions?
We don't have a motion on the floor.
I'll move to appoint Joe Burgaw, 19 Adelwan Avenue, Niantic, as the tree warden for the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 8, 2024.
Second.
Been seconded all over. Any questions?
Yes. So for many years, we have had a tree warden and a company that's done that, as you mentioned. Long-standing local family. And they were paid on the basis of the job. They didn't have a set salary.
Correct.
They're paid, they have to go out, survey, take a tree down. That's how they were paid. And we had a separate line item for the tree warden. So I do have several questions. My first is a statement that I'm beginning to get concerned about Mr. Burgaw himself. We already have him doing 2 jobs, which most other towns have 2 people doing. And he's doing 2 jobs, and now we're going to put this on his plate as well. Admittedly, he's not going to be out surveying trees every day, but still, it's an additional burden and additional paperwork. There's only so many hours of the day, regardless of how much you're paid or how little. So if we appoint someone as the tree warden, as in that family, the Jezierskis, that's an appointed position. We don't have to have 3 bids. That's a town-appointed position. Secondly, do we have the equipment that is required for taking down larger trees? Do we have the equipment? A private company has their own equipment and maintains it. We don't, so we would have to take on that responsibility. And there's a huge liability for taking down some of these very large trees.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second, because I don't think I communicated clearly to you what the plan is. And you're asking some very good questions, but clearly I steered you in, well, I gave you the impression, or I wasn't clear enough. The tree warden position is a person who determines whether a tree needs to come down or not.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the person who takes down the tree.
But as he is a town employee, is not the town then going to be taking down the trees?
No.
We'll put it out to bid.
We will put the,
We'll bid out the contract, but when you have the tree warden be if the tree warden is also the person that's actually cutting down the trees, I mean, you technically could put it out to bid, and if they lose it, then they're actually, one of their competitors is gonna be the one that actually has to get the permission. It just,
Yeah.
there's not many towns that are set up like that just because of, it's difficult.
Well, I'm going to go back to the private company and saying that they carry their own insurance, they have liability
They'll still have
of the
it.
job, and they have their own equipment, which we don't have to maintain. So-
Yeah, again, they're really 2 separate functions that should never have been set up this way. In Old Lyme, Tom Degnan is the tree warden. He's an architect, but he's also an arborist. And when he gets calls from the town hall, he'll go out and take a look at a tree and tag it that it needs to come down or not. Makes a call back to the Public Works Department, and then the Public Works Department then enacts its contractor, who it is hired to go out and cut down the tree. My suggestion is the $50,000 for the tree budget next year be put out to bid. Which company out there, a private company, and I hope it's WJ Tree. I hope it's the Jezierskis, and I've had a long conversation with Mike, the current operator, that when they go to bid on this project, I hope they give us a good price, and that we can, in turn, use a local contractor. But the tree warden is judge and jury, not a laborer. That's how it's supposed to be, at least. We've never done it that way, and there's, frankly, a little bit of a conflict of interest. I hold the Jezierskis to the highest level of integrity, but there should be a separation between the tree warden and the person who's hired to take down a tree. And I'm trying to
And it's still going to be a
explain myself.
private, it's still
It'll
go
be
out to the
private.
private industry. We're not.
There'll be a
town's
company
not
that
doing
comes in, they'll have to carry their own insurance, they'll have to do it on our terms. If it's a major road, they might have to get police involved, and they'll have to hire the police to do that, or we'll provide it. I don't know how that relationship works, but, it will be private, and it will be a liability that's borne onto the